Hey there, everyone. I'm back. And this is what you've been waiting for my talk about Star Trek. And of course, yes, I know this is not a Star Trek shirt, this is a Doctor Who shirt. But the problem is, I don't have a Star Trek uniform, nor a Star Trek shirt, or anything involving Star Trek. Of course, I would have stick a little Star Trek pin on my chest, but that's just me. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I like Star Trek was because it was the first sci-fi franchise I got hooked to when I was a little kid. Now, of course, I haven't seen the original Star Trek with Captain Kirk. I mean, I've seen the episodes, yeah. But the one I was catching up to was Star Trek Next Generation. Now, the characters I like on Star Trek, well, I have three favorite Star Trek characters. I like Spock because he's a Vulcan, and he is fascinating. And of course, he's part human, part Vulcan, so he has emotions, but he's trying his best not to have any emotions whatsoever. And of course, the second character I like is Data from Star Trek Next Generation. One thing interesting about Data is that he's an android. He's a robot, a machine. But of course, unlike other machines, he wants to learn about emotions, and he wants to know what it's like to be human. And that makes him a pretty cool character, because he's an android who wants to have emotions. Unlike Spock, who has emotions and wants to get rid of them, because he wants to be a full Vulcan. Data, he wants to be human and want to have emotions, so he'll learn more about being human. And then my third Star Trek character is 7 of 9. And yes, I know, I heard you guys saying, I heard most of you would say to me, because I like 7 of 9, because she's so hot in that silver skin-tight outfit she wore. But that's not it. That's not it at all. She started out as a Borg, because when she was 8 years old, she was assimilated. So she grew up being a Borg, and knows nothing about how to be human. Until Captain Janeway, and of course 7 of 9 is from Voyagers. Captain Janeway, the first female captain known in history, she found 7 of 9, and decided to make her become an officer of her Starfleet, and started helping her by teaching her to be more human. And that's her thing. And those are my three favorite Star Trek characters. And of course, some of you fans are going to know which is my favorite captain. Well, I know some of you Captain Kirk fans are going to hate me for this, but I like Captain John-luc Picard of USS Enterprise. That's right. I like Captain John-luc Picard because he focused more on his mission and less of women. He's more devoted into his mission to Starfleet. Of course, he doesn't always go by the book. He just sticks to what comes natural to him. And also, and of course, the only woman he ever falls in love with is Dr. Beverly Crusher, the female doctor. But of course, I don't know why he's given her son Will a hard time. If he really loves her, he should just cut a kid a break, for crying out loud. He doesn't have to go around saying, "Shut up, Wesley!" But all in all, he's a really cool captain. But of course, some of you are going to ask me, which is my favorite Star Trek show in the world? I say it's Deep Space Nine. I really like Deep Space Nine because it had more alien characters than any Earth characters. And I've always been more fascinated to the alien point of view in their stories. And of course, I kind of like the romance between alien love another alien. And not the same species, just different ones. Like that changeling named Oto, who falls in love with Kira Nerys, the Bajoran. And Lt.Commander Worf. Lieutenant Commander Worf, the Cleon officer, who falls in love with Dax. Well, I forgot what Dax is. She's one of those alien species who has these spots on their back and around their head. And, one thing interesting about them is when they die, they have this little thing inside them that holds all their memories and everything, and they can pull it out and put it to the next alien species that it could contain all the memories and all. And of course, so on and so forth. Oh yeah, and also Rom the Ferengi, who falls in love with a Bajoran named Leah. Or Letta. I forgot her name. But anyway, I say Deep Space Nine was a very interesting show. I mean, heck, I like to have the show and all the seasons of it. And of course, I have my own collection of all the movies of Star Trek, but of course, I could not review all of them. It would take all day, so sorry. But I'll maybe tell you about them next time. And also, I also have an special episode Star Trek, where it only shows the Borg. The Borgs are my favorite aliens throughout the whole Star Trek franchise. That and Vulcans, and also those Orion. You know, those green skin Orion slave girls. And of course I do find the Mirror Universe interesting. If you don't know what the Mirror Universe is, it's supposed to be an alternate universe where you're going to see somebody who looks exactly like me, except they're their opposites. I mean, you know me as a nice, kind, funny guy. In the opposite universe, I'm mean, hateful, and not as funny. And that's what the Mirror Universe is. The alternate universe where everything is opposite. It looks exactly like us, but completely opposite. And of course, when I was, 24 years old, I thought of an interesting idea of creating my own Star Trek. And of course, I have all the characters, all aliens, except one. And, the captain is a female Vulcan. And the lieutenant is, not the lieutenant, but, the first officer commander is an android, like Data. And what I have here, papers I worked on. And of course, this was my first work of art that I did in history. Dang, wind. This here is Captain Brendock, the Vulcan female, and First Officer Commander Chip, the android. And of course, the show is called Star Trek Falcon. Why I picked the Falcon? Because they are the wing lord of the sky. And of course, I have other characters, like a Cleon first officer and a Romulan first officer who falls in love, an Orion officer. And of course, the only Earthling character I think of is a female, and her name is Sarah Strykero. Yeah, I decided to make her Latino. And of course, one of those blue aliens, the bald ones, they're one of the lieutenants. Their doctor is a Ferengi, and their engineer is a hologram, kind of like the Doctor on Voyager, where he's a holographic ship's medic. Well, in this show, they have a holographic ship's mechanic, chief mechanic. Engineer. That's what it is. And of course, one thing interesting here, that the captain has a Vulcan daughter who is a ship's teacher. And of course, there is a son they have from that Cleon Lieutenant Commander, who also falls in love with the Lieutenant Commander, who is a Romulan, and they have a part Cleon, part Romulan. And of course, this is the captain's daughter. And of course, this is the look of their ship, Starship Falcon. And of course, I was thinking about a character who is a Reman. If any of you people have saw Star Trek Nemesis, you might know exactly what I'm talking about. Except this character, he's a space bounty hunter, and he's also the captain's ex-boyfriend. I thought up an idea where Jorpian is that Reman's name, the bounty hunter. He fall in love with Brindock before she became a captain. And of course, since a Vulcan cannot fall in love with a Reman, she went her separate ways with him, but he still kept looking up in the stars, and he still loves her. So he works as a bounty hunter, and this is what the Remans look like, and this is what this guy looks like. Spooky, huh? And of course, I thought up other characters like their arch nemesis. Captain Brindock has a Romulan commander who is evil, and she is a clone to the captain, and her name is Commander Vergi. And she really hates the captain a lot, so that's why she wants to have her destroyed. But the Chip, the first officer commander android, his arch enemy, he has a father who became a Borg, and his name is Lorg. I had to think of a good name for him. And he created Chip before he was assimilated. And now the Borg Queen got his memory of how they created him and created his evil twin brother named L2, who wants his brother to be a Borg and join with him. And of course, there's a Romulan girl who is Commander Vergi's daughter, and her name is Commander Rondia. That's her. And she's trying to get Chip's interest to let him like the Romulans instead of the Vulcans. And of course, if some of you want to have a closer look, check it up on my Facebook, because I'll upload these pictures so you guys can have a closer look at them. Look at them if you like. And of course, thank you very much for watching. And Con! Sorry, I gotta have my Captain Kirk out of my system. Okay? Anyway, thank you ladies and gentlemen for watching, and for those of you who are Star Trek fans, live long and prosper.